apprentices, acolytes, and fellow lords. It's so good to see you, as always, coming into the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself. I am Lord Dagovere, fam, and it's good to see you. It is so good to see you today in the chat, baby. Let's frickin' go. Apprentices and acolytes. Andromen Kas. One of my favorite planets of all time. We got Trent, Bugsy, Grand Admiral Gunner, David Torres, and Jedi Connor. The legends, the men, the myth, the legends inside the chat today. Can I get for the first time a ready up? Woo! I may not be in the kitchen, fam, but we are cooking today. Let's go. Gage, Anthony, inside the chat. Yo, apprentices and acolytes, can I get Gage and Anthony with a ready up in the chat? Yo, Ben, so good to see you on TikTok Live. Let's freaking go. Grand Admiral Rutt, that is my boy, Bugsy, Grand Admiral Gunner. It is an inside joke. Only we understand it, but if you know the name and terminology, baby, that's what we're going to do today, baby. Let's go. Whew. How y'all doing today? How are the apprentices and acolytes today, huh? I missed you guys, man. I missed you guys. I hope you guys are doing well. It's like 60 over here in Florida, and that is cold to me. It is cold to me. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about today, man. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, and I can't wait to get it in. I can't wait to get all the knowledge. And maybe today we can unlock the knowledge. I'm in Florida too. We out here in this element this week. I know, it's like 70 degrees, and that means that it's not 90 degrees, and I don't know what to do with myself, so... Oh my gosh, man. So yeah, it's fun. As you guys can see, content has changed. We have stopped doing the horror stuff because spooky season is over, and now we're just doing the Star Wars goodness. So always coming in with the questions and the takes and the beautifulness and the knowledge that you guys have. So we're gonna go over that every single moment of the stream today. I also have my bad takes that I talk about every single time that we go over the stream. We have a lot. Honestly, we have a lot to talk about today, and I think it's going to be really freaking interesting. Anthony says, ha, it's 40 up in here with wind chill of 30. Yeah, I'd freeze. Good night. Have a good day. I'm not going up there. No, sir. Nope. This ain't the Hoth world, my guy. I like it hot. I like it Korriban hot, baby. All right? Yeah, that's usually how it is. Yeah, let's talk Star Wars today. All right. So... you know, as Visions has come along, I want to say I personally believe that this was the best season of Visions. I've been talking it up for a while. Of course, he knows some people, he heard some things, maybe he knows a couple things about some anime or something, Yeah, but I feel like this was the best season of Visions. I honestly just think it wasn't even close. I mean, first season was fantastic. Second season was good, but I think third clearly showed you how much more that they can do with the assets that they have. And just like I said with my boys, Jedi Connor and Daddy Sheev in the chat, baby, Starlight Pod, make sure you sub and follow the channel. I was talking about how Star Wars and Lucasfilm need to stop tiptoeing around Star Wars Visions and just commit to the 2D animation for canon. I think there is actually some type of, I don't really want to say internal battle, but I think if you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're Lucasfilm, your entire upbringing is CG anime. And yeah, there are some great CG anime out there, especially with, Tales of the Underworld, Clone Wars Season 7, which is phenomenal. But I feel like at the end of the day, 2D anime is king. Everybody is watching anime these days. Star Wars fans may not be Japanese anime fan, but I feel like you can make Japanese anime fans Star Wars fans. And that's where Visions comes in, and it's really important, especially if you want to hook the future generation of Star Wars fans, future storytellers of Star Wars. I think there is a huge amount of potential, untapped potential in 2D animation. And I think right there with Ronin, with F, with the Ninth Jedi, all of those beautiful, beautiful stories and characters. Sky is the limit, baby. Seriously. Gage inside the chat says, my order is 3 is the best, 2 is the second best, and 1 is the weakest so far. I mean, I understand that. I know a lot of people liked Season 2's stories. For me, I only really liked a couple of episodes. I just think Season 1 is a banger, is more of what I enjoy. It's not necessarily that it was bad. It's just I prefer this, right? That's kind of what I mean. Gage also says, at least we're getting the full Ninth Jedi season. That may drive up interest in the 2D. I agree. But I still feel like Lucasfilm is not doing enough. I don't think they're doing enough. I think, there was a really interesting take that James Woe, who was the executive producer of Star Wars Visions, was talking about, and there are certain stories that he said that fit well in canon. And I think he's saying that because he's trying to slowly get people to engage with the idea that this can be anime. Just do it. Just do it. I think one of the biggest problems Star Wars isn't doing is committing enough. You make a character, you abandon it. You make a story, you cancel it. I think that is the problem with current Star Wars. You spent $5 billion on this. Stop tiptoeing around. Just make it yours. At the end of the day, if you make a good product, people will buy it. People always talk about how something is too expensive or they're not going to do this, but at the end of the day, they're still buying that $800 console, or the Switch 2 or Pokemon and video games are like $80. People are still buying it, because they want to play. So I feel like at the end of the day, if you make the product good, people are going to pay their money. It doesn't matter how broke they are, it doesn't matter how rich they are going to do it. Now, the stories need to be good and or level quality. And I think Visions is right there with all that creativeness, so much potential. I just do it. Just go ahead and do it. The risk was doing it in the first place. So please just execute and commit, Yeah, I really feel like that's the way we should be doing it with Star Wars, and we should continue to do it with Star Wars. But that's how I feel. Love Volume 3, all 9, in my opinion. That's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that, man. I don't know if anybody had like a favorite, but I would love to hear you guys' favorite. I love Ronin. I love F. I think all these characters are so very good and don't get enough limelight and attention. Obviously, Ninth Jedi is fantastic, and we're going to see so much Ninth Jedi in 2026. But damn, I just feel like there's more. There's so much more to do. So since we're on the ninth sister, interesting. Ninth Jedi, Ronin, and Black was fantastic. Oh, nice. Yes. So, Bugsy, you actually just brought up a fantastic topic that I want to talk about today. So, I don't know if you guys have seen the scene or the last episode of Star Wars Visions Volume 3, which is Black. And I don't know if a lot of people understand this, but Star Wars Visions Volume 3 probably has one of the greatest pieces of animations in all of Star Wars, one of the greatest pieces of projects of animation in general, and that is Black. Black is insanely beautiful, and I see a lot of people talking about what they don't know, that they're on an acid trip, and I get it. Yes, the animation is very visceral. It's showing you so many things. And I think a lot of people probably thought it was too real for Star Wars because there's visions in it. Haha, visions and visions. And you're seeing the stormtrooper see his wife. He's on a real-looking world with real clothes. I feel like a lot of people didn't really understand that, these are stormtroopers. And stormtroopers are kind of like the canonical cannon fodder of the Empire. They're basically meat shields for the entire war machine of the Empire. And this stormtrooper is dying. And I think he's actually so close to connecting to everything around him in the galaxy because he's basically at peace before he dies. And that's why he's feeling so many things all at once. It's like he's all of a sudden connected to the Force and he has that epiphany. a little too late. And I thought that was so beautiful about the animation. It was just so much going on in a stormtrooper's head that everybody just takes for granted. You know, in Star Wars, it's a nothing. It's a cog in an entire machine that we all just overlook and take for granted. But I came across this comment. Wasted on Star Wars. Wasted on Star Wars. This incredible animation that a lot of people are saying is probably like the best animation ever was wasted on Star Wars. And I think a lot of people nowadays, and no hate to this person, okay, but I think that there is a very clear misunderstanding about Star Wars these days. A lot of people dislike the sequel trilogy, Kenobi, Book of Boba Fett, The Acolyte, whatever you want to say, okay? I understand. I hear the criticism. But I think that people do not understand how important Star Wars is to the entertainment industry, to the movie industry, to the world, and also to animation. Every single person that was a part of this black animation is a dog. They are one of the best in the entire industry of anime, okay? They are the heaviest of hitters. They are averaging 40 points a game. And if you don't know who they are, you better read up and study and know a ball, because I swear to God, man, it is not about the animation looks like shit. It's not about the story is bad. No, these guys have some of the greatest vision, some of the most insane potential in all of Japanese anime in the history of animation, and they decided to make Star Wars. Why? Because most of these people are in the industry of anime because Star Wars inspired them. That's the point. This was not wasted on Star Wars. In fact, it was a gift, which is why Star Wars Visions is one of the greatest Star Wars projects ever. And George Lucas himself would probably be diving into this face first to, invest so much more than even Lucasfilm and Disney has, because he is someone that understood the power of storytelling in so many different mediums, man. Anime is one of those things. If you rewind the clocks back to like 2008, I guarantee you, if anime was as prominent as it is now and mainstream, George Lucas would be making 2D anime, JP anime, just like this. I do not understand the shallow lack of understanding when I see a comment like this. This was wasted on Star Wars. It is because of Star Wars that you got this gift. It is because of Star Wars that you are able to see these people put their heart and passion and soul into this animation, where AI is so rampant these days. People can't think for themselves, and you have people on the internet thinking that they're artists because they're telling a computer to make something for them. This was human expression and storytelling in its purest form. AI can never do that. These creators, these prodigies, these people that are some of the best in the industry whatsoever, they made this short, and I think you all should go see it, whether you understand it or not, just to see how talented everybody is. Now, imagine if you actually put story that people could digest and understand in. I think Black is one of the greatest pieces of anime, not just in Star Wars, but that I think that we've seen in this generation, man. I will never agree with a comment like this and understand the lack of understanding when it comes to a comment like this. Wasted on Star Wars is such a whack take that it might be one of the worst takes of 2025. Honestly. That's honestly how I feel. No filter. Bugsy says, I think the Black story is so foreign to most viewers because it requires you to pay attention and follow it closely. It doesn't just give you a clear, cutthroat story. But I think that's also people, they're overanalyzing something. And I think that's also a problem with like modern interpretation or just modern film and the industry, because no one can enjoy things these days, you know? I think that's also a big problem, is like everyone has to analyze. Everybody needs an opinion, even me. You know, I put myself in front of a microphone because I don't have friends in real life, so I just want to talk, right? Especially about Star Wars, and I hope to find other people that talk about Star Wars. So I want to find people that have an opinion too. I think when people saw this thing, they're like, wow, this doesn't make any sense. Wow, this is stupid. Wow, this is dumb. And it doesn't matter what age or generation these people come from. I think they just all wanted to say something because everybody is reactionary. Everybody wants something to say, but they just couldn't stop and enjoy it. I have no idea what's going on, but it is amazing, honestly. I think that would have been the most correct way to absorb this, And I think it is very out there. It is very, very out there that we see this type of animation, man. I don't think you're ever going to get an animation like this in Star Wars ever again. Like, this is a one of one, in my opinion. You will never get something like this in Star Wars ever again. And I think people are and there's not many. It is not many, by the way. It is just, random people that I see online that just like, I have no idea what's happening. A lot of people are very curious. They want to see where it comes from. They heard about Visions and Star Wars, and so they're actually watching it because of this, which I think that's exactly what Visions is supposed to do. Bring in people that are never, ever interested in Star Wars and just want to see animation. I think that is why Star Wars Visions is so powerful. It's... Yeah, and I think that's the problem. But just as many people that were saying stupid stuff like that, where they were like wasted on Star Wars, a lot of people were combating them. And it's kind of just like, like, y'all need to just respect, understand that what you're saying is a complete lack of understanding and disrespect to a franchise that started so many things for so many franchises. I don't think they really understand. And I don't think they will ever understand. The black animation may not be my favorite of all time, but I understand and know game when I see it, and that shit was top tier. Like, it was... When I saw... Like, there are moments of that animation where the X-Wing is flying through the air, and the Death Star is opening up, and then you just see all of the stormtroopers come out of the snow. Oh my gosh, man. It is gorgeous. Oh, your daughter's got the same sweater? Let's go. Let's go. Black is the best animation I've seen since the Chainsaw Man Demon Slayer movie. Well, that's like yesterday, so that doesn't mean much. I just feel like... I don't know, how can I say this? Like, I think that there's a lot of anime that looks... that doesn't look as good as, like, Dragon Ball Z from the 90s, I think there is even more anime that doesn't look anywhere near as good as Vampire Hunter D, and so many kids today will talk about, like, JJK and My Hero Academia, and Chainsaw Man and Demon Slayer, and then I'm looking at Vampire Hunter D, and I'm just like, I don't think an anime has come close, There's parts of, like, Dragon Ball Z, especially like Buu Saga and Cell Saga, where I personally feel like at the time, with the lack of technology, has nothing to do with just like value or anything like that or nostalgia. I'm just talking about the resources they had back then versus what they have now. And this is all that you can do, And And that's the other thing too, is I feel like how can I say, when I watch the Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods movie, right? At the time, I thought that movie looked really cool. But then I go back and watch it, from 10 years ago, and I think that movie did not age well. I watched the Broly movie that just came out maybe 5 years ago. I think it was 5-6 years ago. And that movie looks like it aged better than some of these movies, And it's not to say that these things are bad, or they're not good. But there is just a different level of something that I do not understand and I couldn't comprehend because I didn't work in that industry or that studio, and I don't have the terminology to explain it. But there are some things that I feel like just are not brought all the way as far as they could have. Is that a matter of production? Is that a matter of a certain studio working these people to the bone because, they're all on a budget and they're working 27-hour shifts
32-hour shifts, that's also a problem too with the JP studio, and I don't think a lot of people understand how bad it is. I know that there's been something that has been exposed, but I don't think people really know. Especially how much money is not being invested into that. So, I don't know. We could talk about this all day, but that is also a different industry. This is usually about Star Wars, but because Visions comes out, I like to talk about anime. And just because I've worked in some industries and some studios, so I kind of know a little ball, not all ball, but yeah. Zach says, I'm making a comic and writing a story. Any advice? Don't listen to anybody. I think that should be your advice. I think that you should have your thoughts unfiltered, and like you have your own voice. No one can write the way you write. No one can say the things that you say and have the same value or meaning. But if you want advice, I guess, on writing a story, is write it all down first. Like make your outline. Just write your outline out. Because at the very least, you'll have the entire story there for you to guide you when you go into depression or you get sad or you get laid off, whatever it is. That's what I did. That's what I've been doing, and it's been working. But outside of that, that's all the advice I should give you, because I'm not qualified to give you anything else. Bugsy says, but yes, Vision is peak. Yes, it is absolutely peak. Also, good luck, Zach. Good luck, Zach. I hope you do a good job, fam. Writing a story is a very hard thing, and I hope your dreams come true, my guy. Bugsy says, Mappa needs to pay their employees and not overwork them. Oda has to force himself to take a break from writing. Yeah, that's. I mean, I feel like that's also just the industry, man. I feel like so many people are just so, they work and they work and they work, and that's all that they know to do. Volume 3, not a season. Yes, marketing is very peculiar about that. If you say season 3, they get upset. Yeah, man, it's frustrating. Bugsy says those animators are working in horrible conditions now. For example, Mappa only employees do not get to see their family. Yeah, I mean, I've heard stuff too about people getting sick, especially like composers, and then they have to hire other composers, and then there's rights and stuff. Oh, it's just so, it's so crazy. Yeah, man. So the next thing I want to talk about, guys, is this: the evil. Evil is just a word. So if you guys have not seen my new Thrawn video, which I thought was really interesting, I was talking. Someone had asked me a while back about whether or not I felt like Thrawn is evil, and I would say if you asked me that question like 10 years ago, I would probably say no, I don't think Thrawn is evil. But, as I've gotten a little older and wiser, because I'm Unk status now, I'm definitely chalked and chopped, I would say that Thrawn is evil. And just because that he cares about his people, just because he's taking measures that other people don't usually do, doesn't negate the choices that he makes, It's kind of like Anakin Skywalker, right? Where Anakin Skywalker destroyed the Emperor, saved his son, but it does not absolve him of, like, killing children and choking out his wife, right? So when I see Thrawn, I see someone, in my opinion, who is evil. Is he necessary evil? Because he is saving his own people, right? That's supposed to be the whole scheme about Thrawn, right? Is that he has this level of depth that he absolutely needs to do all of these things to save the Chiss Ascendancy. But in my opinion, he is evil. He's evil because, in the heir to the Empire, he is imprisoning an entire species on a poisoned world that he is also lying to them about. So he's basically committing genocide. He's not allowing their children to grow. He's not allowing them to get food. He's not allowing them to leave the planet because it's a prison, and they're also indebted to the Empire, which is destroyed. So somewhat destroyed at this point, and he is using them for his own choices, his own political gain, his own gain in general. Then, of course, you have the Outbound Flight, you have the Chiss Ascendancy, and then in the new canon, there's so much other things happening that I actually enjoy about Thrawn's character. But he also is using a fascist government, the Empire, and military as the best the best resource to defend his people, right? I think there are other ways, but Thrawn does not think so. Thrawn thinks it's the best chance to save the ascendancy. The other thing is, too, is like someone was talking about, I brought up the example that Thrawn and Rebels basically made this guy that was, blowing up speeders for the Empire. And he made that guy ride the speeder that he created to blow up on stormtroopers, to ride it in front of everybody to its limit and then blow up, right? So somebody was like, yeah, well, he did that because the guy was causing war crimes against the Empire. Oh, yeah, the Empire. War crimes against the Empire, the whole freaking fascist government that is enslaving Wookiees, and, it's the Empire, bro. Like, I don't understand. Yes, of course, that guy is committing evil against evil, and it doesn't make it better, right? But Thrawn is also torturing this man and watching him suffer, and also making everybody else witness this guy blow up and die in front of him. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's what a good person would do, and then of course the final thing I always thought about was him bombing Lothal, all those innocent civilians too, where he's literally just dropping bombs on them with his Star Destroyer. So yeah, to me, Thrawn is evil. I love Thrawn. He's a fantastic character. I love how complex he is. But he is definitely evil in my opinion. Is he necessary evil? Is he lawful evil? I think those are really interesting questions. But I don't think it's really an uncertainty about whether or not he is evil or not. At least for me. I would like to know what you guys think. Thrawn to me is one of the coolest freaking characters in Star Wars. And it seems like I got a lot of pushback when I said that he was evil. And I think it's really interesting. I'm actually curious if like some people just, they like the character, or maybe is this an Anakin versus Vader thing and they're not the same person that some people believe? I don't necessarily believe that, but I'm very curious to see what you guys. So Gage says it's hard to find anyone supporting the Empire as not evil given what they're based on. Yeah, and that's kind of like a big thing for me too. Mara Jade is a really great character, man. I love Mara Jade, especially when I read the Art of the Empire series. Like, there is a point in time where that character is evil, right? She's basically mentally connected to the Emperor, and she's going out and doing that bidding. But then there's a time where she can be a person, So I think it's a very good question whether or not you have to, I guess, prosecute Mara Jade for her past crimes, for being an Imperial and one of the hands of the Emperor. But then I also see it as when the Emperor is no longer in her life, she's an actual person now, right? I'm not saying that what she did, should be completely looked over, and she shouldn't atone. Of course she should. But I think it's a really good question of whether or not Mara Jade, at the end of the Heir to the Empire series, and when she's learning from Luke, is finally a person that she was supposed to be her entire life, right? And I think that makes more sense than someone saying Thrawn is not evil, if that makes any sense. Because Thrawn does not have this dual personality. He's not being imprisoned or mentally connected to the Emperor, or turning to the dark side. Thrawn is very conscious of everything that he does, and I think, in my opinion, that is the whole entire reason why I have to say Thrawn is evil, because he's taking these measures that nobody else does just to save his own people. So good to see you, Logan. Everybody inside the chat, welcome Logan to the Dark Temple with a ready up. Let's go. I'm here to learn and to ask and to share. Thank you, Anthony. I appreciate it. I'm also here to learn and share and ask and talk and be loud most of the time. Yeah. Definitely. But yeah, I want to know what you guys think. I mean, they're based on pretty famous government. Don't know if I can say the word on TikTok. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I know. You got to be careful on there. I totally feel that. All right. So I think that we have done that. Everyone's got their opinions out on Thrawn, but I would love to hear you guys. If you guys have any other questions as we go on with these other things, please let me know. Thrawn's people are pretty ungrateful. I agree. And which is also crazy because Thrawn was also kind of like excommunicated by his own people, you know? So, but yeah, I mean, it really depends, you know, but I will not back down on the idea and the label that Thrawn is evil. He is to me. Yeah. All right, guys. So you ready for this one? This is really interesting. Listen to this, okay? Listen to this. Rumor: Star Wars Rogue Squadron movie is reportedly being reworked into a Disney Plus series. Interesting. I don't know who the Star Wars direct is, and you know, I take rumors with a grain of salt. But I wonder now if Starfighter is gaining so much momentum that potentially they see an opportunity here to have a series that connects to a movie. I think Disney Plus does that a lot. This seems like a very Disney move. I wouldn't even say that this is a Lucasfilm move, especially since we've seen now how close by Bob Iger and his friends are in the pot of Lucasfilm and which projects to greenlight and which projects to shelve. I wonder if they're saying, hey, you know, Starfighter, you know, Rogue Squadron seems really interesting. Let's maybe make the pieces of this left shelved over project into something that we could work with for Starfighter. I'm fine with it. You know, I'm okay with it. I'm just more focused on Starfighter. I think Starfighter is going to be very interesting. I'm more excited for that than a lot of things. I think everybody attached to the Starfighter project and movie seem like dogs, very talented. I don't have much faith in the idea of a Rogue Squadron movie, let alone whatever that was left over from that movie that we had announced so many years ago. I just kind of forgotten it and don't really care about. It's kind of on the shelf with Star Wars Eclipse at this point. That's just how I feel. Logan says perhaps Thrawn wishes to rule over them. Rule over them how he thinks is right. Knows their flaws. Yeah, knows their flaws and the roadblocks and the house system he creates. Yeah, I mean, I think that's really interesting too because I don't know if you've read any of the new Thrawn books, Logan, but you know the whole Chiss Ascendancy trilogy is really interesting. I think it's a little hard to absorb because there's a lot of dialogue and there's a lot of things happening, but I think there's also like nothing happening. It's very interesting, but it goes so much into the Chiss Ascendancy and that whole political thing that they got going on there. But I think the most interesting part of it is the Grysk, which is all in the Alliance books, which is really freaking cool. I love that story. I love that part of Thrawn's whatever that he has going on. But I still think that Thrawn is somewhat of an enigma. It's very, I don't know. I don't want to use the word compelling, but I'm definitely like awestruck and just kind of thinking of like what is Thrawn's like game. We know he wants to save the Chiss Ascendancy, but like what else? You know, what else does he want? Like, what is his actual goal, his dream? And how is he going to, you know, make that dream happen? Because will there ever be a galaxy where the Chiss Ascendancy doesn't need Thrawn? Or will Thrawn ever not want to exist because he always believes that the Chiss Ascendancy is under threat? That's the type of stuff I think about because I'm not really sure we've ever gotten that about Thrawn. You know, I don't know. I think about a lot of like endgame for characters and where they might go, and I think Thrawn is just a question mark, even with everything that we know. Gage says, I think Rogue Squadron fits better as a show than a movie anyway, to be honest. I think, I'm fine with that. I think that'll be okay. I'm okay with a Rogue Squadron show. I just don't want to see a Rogue Squadron movie. I really want them to focus on the Ben Solo movie, if they ever do it, Starfighter, and any future movies pertaining into Rey, because if those movies bomb, I don't even want to think about it, you know? Gage says, I think Thrawn's goal is to make himself important enough to be in a stable government to where the Chiss will be protected, even if he can't directly defend it. I understand. I think that's... But I still feel like that's just like the bare minimum for Thrawn. I feel like he would want more. You know, he would want to do more. But I don't know. Logan says Thrawn created the Empire of the Hand, his model empire. I can see him wanting to absorb the Chiss and perhaps the wider galaxy, turn the galaxy into a piece of art under his perfect rule and efficiency in his eyes. Wow, so you just think that he's a conqueror? I mean, he is. He is a tactician. He is, in my opinion, one of the highest intellect individuals in all of Star Wars. You know, I don't think that there's many above him, honestly. Thrawn, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, because when it comes to politics, I don't think Thrawn is interested. Thrawn is very fascinated by art and cultures and people and civilizations. You know, we know that. I think that's the very basic understanding of Thrawn. But could Thrawn really want to conquer everything? Do you think he's like a mad conqueror like that? Worse than the Emperor? I feel like, I mean, because he does have the understanding that all of these other galaxies exist. I think so did the Emperor. But for him to want to not just take over the Chiss Ascendancy in that galaxy and everything pertaining to that, the Nell, whatever else that's around there, but also to the galaxy far, far away, I don't know, man. I mean, what's he going to do next? I guess the Nell are right there, and then maybe the Vong, and then, of course, if you go further, I guess the Rakatan Archipelago, right? Archipelago, you know. I don't know. Other space? Other space? Nile space? And I'm not talking about the High Republic, you know. But didn't Thrawn engineer his political ineptitude to orchestrate his exile back to the unknown regions? I think that there's a lot of questions with Thrawn. Because I think that even with both Legends and New Canon and Timothy Zahn, I'm not even sure if Zahn knows what he wants to do with Thrawn too, because I just feel like, what is he going to do? There is no opportunity to write this guy out anymore. He's clearly going to have an end in live action. He's clearly going to have an end either in a movie or a Disney Plus series. So do you think Zahn has detached himself from Thrawn overall? If I was him and I started to realize that they weren't even going to allow me to write on projects, yeah, man, I would feel very, I don't know, like you stole the character from me. You know, that's my child, and now I can't even support him, you know? It is what it is, you know? I don't know. I don't know. I really don't... Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a universe in Star Wars, you know. But yes, I understand what you're saying, Anthony. Yes, we are talking about specifically the Star Wars galaxy, and the galaxy is where most of the stories are, the movies are taking place. Grayson says, I spoke to him at Con, and he basically said the ball is in Dave's court with Thrawn. Yeah, Grayson, by the way, thank you so much for being here, fam. Appreciate you. Make sure you all welcome Grayson with a ready up. Yeah, you know, that, I don't want to get into the whole, you know, Disney X Star Wars thing, and, you know, but it does make me feel sad that Timothy Zahn feels that way, you know. it sucks. That's all I'll say. It sucks, because Thrawn is a very big character, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Logan says, I can't see him wanting to really protect his people since they all chastise him, especially the royal houses. I feel like he wants to abolish them for a more efficient, centralized government. Yes. But I think what's also interesting, though, Logan, is, at least in the new canon, is Arlani and Eli Vanto. Like, I think it's... So you have Thrawn Treason and Thrawn Alliances, which I think are some of the best Star Wars books. And this is coming from a die-hard Legends fan, right? Are you streaming on YouTube too, bro? I didn't know you did these streams. Yeah. I do every Tuesday, Grayson. Yeah, man. I was trying to get you and Mortis and I'm trying to find people that don't get annoyed at me. To talk Star Wars with. Yeah, but I do this every single Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And I really appreciate you being a part of this, man, joining this, man. I may have to have you on the stream sometime, and maybe even the Starlight Pod with your boys Jedi Connor and Daddy Sheev, man. But yeah, hit me up, man. Hit me up, my guy. Yeah. But Logan, I think you bring up a really good point. Because, yes, the hierarchy do not like Thrawn of the Chiss. The Chiss do not like Thrawn. But Thrawn is very protective of the people around him. And that's why I was talking about Arlani and Eli Vanto. And there's a couple other characters in Thrawn Treason and Thrawn Alliances that are in his inner circle that he's also helping them. Even the guy that he does not like. One of the guys that is such an asshole, one of the Imperial stooges that is such a dick, and I can't stand that guy the entire freaking book. But then he ends up defending Thrawn. I think he was like Krennic's. I don't want to say bitch, but he basically was. Yeah. But one of them, I can't remember specifically. It was a female character, and he was kind of like showing her, this is how you do this. But he wasn't saying these things. He was like, what do you see? And what would you do? Interesting. And he was teaching her in that way, which I love when Thrawn does. Man, I love that fucking character, dude. God, sorry, I love Thrawn. I love that character, dude. And he's just like helping them see a bit and a piece of what he does, and you can see that he cares. But does he care because he's trying to elevate everybody around him to gain something? I think that is a very, very realistic question to ask, because Thrawn is always seeing so much more than everybody else. He's kind of a know-it-all, and what is the game that he's playing at? So he may be a friend, but he also could be using you because you have value, and that is the part of Thrawn that I don't want to acknowledge. That's what I feel sad about. Favorite lightsaber color? It was yellow. It was yellow, but yellow's being used so much, and that was because I played the Jedi Knight games back in the day. But now I think it's more white. I think I like white. White and red. I think those are my favorites right now until they make a silver. Grayson says, I'll hop over. We're like-minded when it comes to canon and legends, so you say the word and I'm down. Dude, that would be awesome, man. I would love to have you on, and anybody that you're trying to get onto. Yeah, man, I watch a lot of the streams. I lurk a lot, but yeah, dude, I really appreciate you, Grayson. Thanks for being here. Cyberwolf says, why was the purple lightsaber different than other lightsabers? Because Samuel Jackson decided he wanted a purple lightsaber. But in the new canon, it is extremely rare. There is no specific reasoning to this outside of kyber crystals are colorless, so lightsaber crystals are colorless, and depending on your connection to the Force, that is the attunement, the tuning that the crystal has. It represents your connection to the Force. So Mace Windu is very, very unique. More so than I think any crystal in Star Wars currently. Because, red, you can always get synthetically. Sometimes there's natural crystals out there, both in Legends and new canon. White, of course, is also purifying the crystal, which I think is really interesting. But there is no specific reason as to why purple is the way it is right now. People will try and tell you, like, Legends, it means the person is closest to the dark side. That is completely untrue. That is a lie. That has never been canon. There is no meaning whatsoever outside of Samuel Jackson asking for a purple lightsaber from George Lucas. There is one short story about Mace Windu saving a species of alien, and those aliens were also like crystal creatures, and they gave him a kyber crystal. But I don't even think that was canon. And Logan, you can absolutely call me out and correct me, please. But that's it. What was the reason for them getting rid of the clones and replacing them with normal people? Clones were dying out. And also, they wanted more people to... I mean, Bad Batch, I think, does it really good, where they show you and set up the clones with Order 66 and how the clones basically just do any order whatsoever. And then they end up deleting them. But, of course, if you played the Battlefront games and the 501st Journals, Kamino was rising up against the Empire in those missions, and you had to go and eliminate your own brothers as clones because you were the 501st. But then eventually cloning was kind of taken under by the Empire, and then the Dark Empire, and there's so much things. But they eventually wanted to start recruiting their own people, and people from within, from their own territories, which basically gave them so many people and resources. And although they may not have been clones, they definitely did operate like them. Gage says, Bad Batch also shows after Order 66, they still have independence and start to kind of figure out something was off, and so it's Palpatine sees a huge liability. Yes, exactly. Especially with the inhibitor chips, it just... after Order 66, clones were just kind of done. Their purpose was fulfilled. And I think that the more that the Empire had them on duty, I think that the more risk that they run of killing themselves, killing other people, going batshit crazy. They really were not supposed to live that long in general. But yeah, it's really sad. The more I think about the clones and everything, it's just kind of, I don't know, everything went downhill after that. EU makes the clone phase out more natural. Yes, and there was just you had the expanded universe books, you had the Battlefront games. There was a lot going on with the clones. I know a lot of people really did not like the Clone Wars animation series because they felt like it ruined a lot of the canon and retconned a lot of things. For instance, one of the craziest parts of the Empire, Heir to the Empire series is the end of Dark Force Rising, where the last parts of that book is clones, like dead clones, and they start realizing cloning is a thing, and that's kind of like foreshadowing what the future is for Star Wars. And this came out before the freaking prequels even existed. So Timothy Zahn was just really kind of in his bag, man, cooking for all those things. I'm not necessarily sure how people thought about the clones back then, but man, when you read that book and then you have the understanding that that book was well beyond anything that came before the prequels, as well as the Tales of the Jedi series, man, I just it's so I understand why so many people hold that trilogy so highly. Yeah, Ascending works well to the prequel to Outbound Flight. Yes, it does. I think that is actually a good way to see it. I never thought about it that way. Thank you so much, Logan. Appreciate you, fam. Appreciate you, man. Okay, so let's look at... Okay, so here we go. This was really interesting. I saw this today, guys, and I want your view on this. No hate to the creator. Remember, we always do that. No hate to the creator. So this was a Twitter post that I had seen, and I wanted to talk about it and bring it up to you guys. And it says, Obi-Wan was 25 when he beat Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace. Ahsoka here is not only younger than Obi-Wan, but is also out of practice. Within the same show, Maul gives Obi-Wan a run for his money and handles himself well against Darth Sidious. Ahsoka is not supposed to walk away from this fight alive. And the quote, of course, is the Clone Wars Season 7 fight with Ahsoka and Darth Maul. I want your all's opinions. If you would greatly, please give me well, your opinion on this. Do you feel like Ahsoka should have beaten Maul in the Clone Wars Season 7? So, I had a couple things to say about this. I don't know why so many people have such a hard time understanding this, but like Ahsoka doesn't beat Maul in Clone Wars Season 7. I don't see that at all. In fact, I think it's more of Ahsoka surviving Darth Maul, because there's a lot of scenarios that happen in Star Wars. Scenarios are very important to all results in Star Wars. Return of the Jedi is a really good example. Luke Skywalker does not defeat the Emperor. Okay? Luke Skywalker does not defeat Darth Vader. Darth Vader sacrifices himself for Luke Skywalker and kills the Emperor. Now, the entire Empire thinks Luke Skywalker destroyed Darth Vader and Darth Sidious, but that's not what happened at all. You know, this is a scene where Maul has done everything at this point, orchestrated this entire event to bring Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi. The moment Ahsoka shows up, Maul loses, because the entire plan is ruined now. He can't recruit Kenobi. He can't convince him that Anakin is going to destroy everything. He has to convince Ahsoka, who is basically like Anakin's daughter. So the shit was hitting the fan right there and then. The second thing is, too, this person brings up that in the same show, Darth Maul is is handling or is doing well against Darth Sidious. That's not true at all. Darth Sidious is absolutely dominating and destroying Darth Maul and Savage Opress. He's not even trying. And Darth Maul is absolutely helpless to stop Sidious from destroying his brother Opress. And then even begs for his own life. I'm not sure what series this guy was watching, but it was not the same series as me. And again, to go back to the Ahsoka and Maul fight, Maul absolutely, in this one instance, disarms and dispossesses Ahsoka, where she has to, her saber falls because Darth Maul basically is so skilled that she can't handle it, and Ahsoka has to use the Force to bring back the lightsaber and then fight him. She ends up Force pushing him out the frickin' window, but in that moment, Darth Maul is winning. But people also do not understand, Darth Maul is not trying to kill her in this entire fight. He's trying to teach her a lesson, show her the truth, and then ally himself with her so they can go and destroy Anakin Skywalker. I would say that not necessarily that he's not trying, but he's not trying to kill her for sure. And then what's even worse is that Maul is running out of time because Ahsoka has Bo-Katan and the 332nd, and they're destroying all of Mandalore, and those are Ahsoka's reinforcements. He was never winning this fight, guys, whatsoever. I'm sorry. I don't know why so many people try to fabricate this conflict about Ahsoka winning or beating Maul, but I don't think they really absorb the conflict in the episodes as well as they should. I think they're more focused on the result outside of trying to understand all the components that went into the fight. Because in my opinion, Maul did not lose to Ahsoka. Ahsoka survived. That's what happened. Bugsy says, once Maul started feeling it, the turn of the Force, he was never the same. Yes, I agree. I would also argue that the Phantom Menace Maul is more powerful than the Clone Wars Maul. I think Darth Maul is very tactical, but I think that when he lost his legs, he became a different character, and I think that is very, very clear. It's very, very obvious. For better or for worse, it's up to you. But in terms of power, I think that he's a little weaker in the Clone Wars series. Logan says, I feel like Maul was off his game since the Great Change coming and was nervous. Yes, I also agree with that. I would think that he was more refined and focused when, in that last episode, when he escapes and has to make his leave off the Star Destroyer. Actually. That's just my opinion, though. Yeah, man. I don't know. So many people, I think that they really get carried away about certain things, and I think that forces them to evade other facts that would help them understand things more. So we got that, and then I guess today we will be closing with this very interesting. Real ones know it's a Maul clone. Yeah, that's waiting to fight Darth Vader. Oh, man. Okay, guys. So, here we go. You ready for this one? You ready for this one? The 15th strongest Jedi, according to something that I've never heard of, and I think that says all you need to know. So, we have Kit Fisto at number 15. Grogu. I'm sorry, I gotta stop right there, bro. Grogu is stronger than Kit Fisto? Are you kidding me, guys? Come on, man. What are we talking about? Right there. Right there, the whole list is discredited. What are we talking about? What do you mean Kit Fisto is weaker than Grogu? This is a bad list, guys. This is... In my opinion, I think this is a list that someone probably put into ChatGPT. This is the type of list I would expect from ChatGPT, okay? So, I think that we should fix this list. At number 15, Kit Fisto. At 14, Grogu. At 13, Plo Koon. At 12, Qui-Gon Jinn. 11, Kanan Jarrus. 10, Cal Kestis. 9, Ezra Bridger. 8, Ahsoka Tano. 7, Ben Solo. 6, Rey. 5, Obi-Wan Kenobi. 4, Anakin Skywalker. 3, Yoda. 2, Mace Windu. 1, Luke Skywalker. So first of all, okay, Anakin Skywalker is a god. He's dead. He's a god. He's a Force ghost. All right, and his character, I guess, is he's a god. I think that you should remove him completely from this list. I don't think Anakin Skywalker should be on this list. So we're gonna remove him. Okay. Now, if you want to, guys, we can go ahead and rank him up from the we'll do Revenge of the Sith. How about that? We'll do Revenge of the Sith. Okay, that's what we'll do. All right, let me make this. Let me make this. All right. Grogu is the weakest on this list, guys. Grogu is 15th. I mean, I think anybody can understand that. All right, Grogu is 15th. Now, here is where I'm going to start pissing people off. Kanan Jarrus, Cal Kestis, Ezra Bridger, in my opinion, are in the same tier of Jedi. Okay? So, I think if you have Grogu at 15 and then 14, 13, and 12, Kanan, Cal, and Ezra, I think that's fine. Yeah, I think either one of them, personally, I would put Cal Kestis over them all, but that is just me. But I still see them in the same tier of Force users. How do you guys feel about that? Then we have Plo Koon, Qui-Gon Jinn, Kit Fisto. Those, in my opinion, are also on the same level. So that would be 10, 9, and 8. Are we around there? I believe we are, right? Let me see if I can copy this. Okay, here we go. There we go. Yeah, so I have Grogu. Man, I'm gonna make this whole list, guys. I have Grogu, Ezra, Kanan, Cal, and then Kit, Plo, Jin. Okay, so now I think it's going to get really interesting. All right? Now I think it's going to get really interesting. Here we go. Right here. Now I think it's going to get really interesting. If you put High Republic in the mix, half of the list vanishes. I don't know. I don't think so. Because I think a lot of people sleep on the movie characters. All right, ready, guys? So I'm going to do this. This is going to piss you guys off. All right? Rey. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ben Solo. Anakin Skywalker. Mace Windu. And then Yoda. And then Luke. That is my list. That is my list. Skippy the Jedi droid. So Grogu, Ezra, Kanan, Cal, Kit, Plo, Jin. Oh, wait a minute. Did I miss one? Wait a minute. What the hell? Is there two people on here? I can't tell. Oh, yeah. Mace Windu is... okay, yeah. So, there we go. So, I need to move that up. Yoda. Honestly, though... Right there. Okay, so Grogu, Ezra, Kanan, Cal, Kit, Plo, Jin, Rey, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ben Solo, Anakin Skywalker, Mace, Ahsoka, Yoda, and Luke. You think Ezra is better than Kanan and Cal just from the Purgle thing alone? So Ezra... Yeah, I can see that. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. Honestly. Bugsy Rage Bait list, bad list. I'm curious to see what you guys would think. So that's what I have. Luke on a whole other level. Yoda. Okay, so what's interesting, by the way, is an Heir to the Empire. In Dark Force Rising, Luke says that at that time of Dark Force Rising, Yoda is stronger than him in the Force. Yoda is more powerful than Luke in the Force. But I don't think Yoda is more, I guess you could say more powerful in the Force, but I don't think Yoda is overall better than Luke anymore at that point. I think overall Luke is stronger, better, younger, but Luke clearly has so many more things to learn, because he's still pretty raw off Return of the Jedi. But I thought that was very interesting that he had said that. Yeah, Kanan also says the whole show that he can't train him well because he's stronger. He's very underrated. Yeah, I agree. I like that. But what do you guys think? That is my list. Here, I'll put it inside the chat so you guys can make your own as well. There we go. And then we'll go over here Move this here. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? I thought that list was wild, man, when I saw that. Bugsy had sent it to me, and I thought that was so freaking crazy. Kit Fisto, Grogu, Plo Koon, Qui-Gon. Yeah, no, that's so wrong, man. In my opinion, the list should go like this. It should go Grogu, Ezra, Kanan, Cal, Kit Fisto, Plo Koon, Jin, Qui-Gon Jinn, Rey, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ben Solo, Anakin Skywalker, Mace Windu, Ahsoka, Yoda, and Luke Skywalker. That's how it should go, in my opinion. Mind you, we are putting Anakin Skywalker from his Revenge of the Sith point. That's how I think it should go. You know? Let me know what you guys think. Let's get some questions, and then we will probably end here. I'm going to be ending on TikTok right now. Thank you so much, TikTok. I will see you around. Deuces. Damn, what the hell, bro? 100 viewers on freaking TikTok is crazy. What the flip? Man. TikTok's crazy, bro. I don't think that number is right. I think it's just people passing by. But yeah, what do you guys think? Is that it? You guys are good? You guys are done? It's a wrap, guys. Good list, but you know I'm biased towards my boy Anakin. Yeah, but we have to understand Anakin got smacked the fuck up. You know, it is what it is, man. Like, it is what it is. You know, as an Anakin... Look, at the end of the day, us Anakin Skywalker fans can say this. He's a god. He's a Force ghost. He's Space Jesus. And now that he has passed on, he's going to be the best. He's going to be the best ever because he's God, you know. That's what it is. That's what it is. D-Max says, good list, good night. Thank you so much, fam. I hope you have a good night. I appreciate you, man. Bugsy says, but is anyone on this list clearing out of the temple like that? For real, dude. Logan says, Skippy fans, rise up. We are oppressing the fandom. Oh, man. Who's the character that killed the Emperor? Dark Empire. He was the Jedi. The Jedi bot. The Jedi droid. Cyborg. Brand? I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name, dude. He always makes me laugh. Jedi cyborg droid. No. Logan, who is it? Who killed Dark Empire? Palpatine. No. I can't remember his name. I'll know him when I see him. Brand. Yeah, I thought it was Brand. Thank you so much. Yes, I thought it was Brand. Thank you so much, Logan. Oh, Gage says Grogu, Kanan, Cal, Ezra. Oh, interesting. Ezra above Cal. I think Cal would beat the shit out of Ezra. I think Cal would knock the piss out of Ezra. But that's just me, dude. I think Cal's a dog, man. He's a scrapper. But that's just me. Plo, Jin, Kit. Okay, I like that. I don't hate it. Obi-Wan, Rey, Ben. I don't mind that either. I don't mind that. I think that's fine. 5, Anakin Skywalker, Ahsoka. Really? You have Mace over Ahsoka? Interesting. I don't think... Look, I think Mace is very powerful. But I think Mace is only as powerful as his Shatterpoint and Vapad. And when he can't use Vapad, his Shatterpoint is very good. But I don't think he's beating Ahsoka later in her life. I don't think he's beating Darth Vader. You know? I don't think he's... Yeah, I don't... He's great. He's amazing. But I think this is where we start to get into the S tiers of characters like Luke, you know. And I just think that Ahsoka has ascended beyond, you know, and I would argue that she's kind of in her prime right now. So I just couldn't see her falling to Mace. But that's just me. I wasn't subbed, so I had to wait 20 minutes to chat. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I think it's because of all the harassment I had after what was that guy's name? Nerderotic? Nerderotic, yeah. Logan says, Bran took out the civilians during the Clone Wars. Yes. Bran was... I heard a lot about Bran. But I remember the audiobooks, and the audiobooks were really interesting during that time. Cage says, Ahsoka and Mace are the closest on the list for me. I would say that Anakin and Mace are pretty close for me. I think Ahsoka is at least Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith Anakin and Revenge of the Sith Mace, obviously, are very close. Because I think Ahsoka is just far beyond that level. Yeah, but that's just me. That's just my opinion and how I see things. Grayson says, by the way, you were talking about a ton of stuff earlier that I was totally agreeing with, especially with the Maul versus Ahsoka fight and the Purple Kyber lore. Thank you so much, Grayson, man. I appreciate you, my guy. By the way, everybody welcome Grayson with a ready up. But I think that's it, guys. If you haven't already, please get inside the Discord, !Discord, in the description and every single YouTube video that is on there. We have shorts every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday now at 2:30 p.m. So go check it out. And of course, every single Tuesday is the stream, 8 p.m. Eastern time, and then Starlight Pod on Wednesdays and Thursdays when we upload it. But thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you as always, man. It is so freaking good. And you know where we coming in, man. To the Dark Temple, visited by Mara Jade, Luke Skywalker, and Kyle Katarn, and so many of the Force sensitives like yourself. I'm Lord Dagovere, fam. And I'll see you around. Deuces.